What kind of war kills builders instead of soldiers? What threat does a construction worker pose to an armed extremist group? On January 29, 2026, along a road near Sabongari in Damboa local government area of Borno State, a group of Nigerian construction workers were moving for routine work. They were not on patrol, they were not armed, they were simply doing their jobs. That journey ended in bloodshed. Gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram or ISWAP fighters ambushed them without warning. By the time the shooting stopped, at least 25 workers were already dead. This was not an accident, it was not a random clash, it was a calculated attack, and it happened just as Nigeria continues to insist that the insurgency in the northeast is largely degraded. So the real question is this: if the war is almost over, why are citizens still dying in large numbers? The attacks on the workers was not the only strike that day. On the same January 29th, militants also launched an assault on a military base in the Damboa area. Soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force were killed, weapons were taken, vehicles were damaged. It was a double message: hit the civilians, then confront the state. The attack on the workers was not the only strike that day. The same January 29th, militants also launched an assault on a military base in Damboa area. Soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force were killed. Weapons were taken, vehicles were damaged. It was a double message: hit the civilians, then confront the state. Security reports later confirmed that the gunmen arrived with clear knowledge of movement routes and timing. That raises an uncomfortable issue Nigeria has been struggling with for years: intelligence leaks. How did the attackers know when the workers would pass that road? Why was there no protective escort in a known danger zone? This was not just an act of violence, it was a demonstration of reach. The militants showed that they could strike soft targets and still challenge military positions almost immediately. Now, let's ask the harder questions. Why target construction workers at all? For Boko Haram and ISWAP, development is a threat. Building projects mean government presence. They mean displaced communities returning. By killing workers, the insurgents are not just taking lives, they are sending fear ahead of the bulldozers and engineers. This tactic is not new, but the timing matters. In recent months, reconstruction efforts in parts of Borno have increased. Attacking of workers slows that pace and reminds local communities that insecurity is still close. It also pressures contractors to withdraw and forces the government to rethink access routes. In short, this attack was strategic. It was designed to stall progress, weaken confidence, and expose security gaps. So what does this incident tell us? First, insurgency in Borno is not finished. Groups may have lost territory, but they still have mobility, weapons, and local knowledge. Second, civilians remain dangerously exposed, especially those working in development and reconstruction. Third, the issue of collaborators and leaked information continues to undermine security operations. After the attack, military sources said operations were intensified in the area, but families of victims are not counting operations, they are counting graves. The ambush of January 29 was not just another headline, it was a warning. A warning that security victories must match reality on ground, a warning that rebuilding without protection invites tragedy, and a warning that until civilians can walk without fear, peace in Borno remains unfinished.